Global to local. You're familiar with Serbian market, but I'm going to ask you at the beginning. We see a PKF. Well, let's see if we can say. We see a PKF brand on a lot of buildings in a lot of places, but there's a little thing that says Hotel Experts. Where does that come from?
It has a historic connection. In 1920s in America, a colleague of ours was consultant and accountant for hotels, for hotel owners, and he saw a lack of standards, and he created a bookkeeping and accounting system, which is now known as the Uniform System of Accounts of the lodging industry. And with that, he also started to do some hotel consulting. So about 80 years ago, by coincidence, PKF stepped into the field of hotel consulting and has been involved ever since. I personally haven't been that long, but 20 years ago I joined them, and I take forth this legacy.
So what do hotel consultants do? What is the range of services that you guys can do?
Basically two services. Number one is we help to check whether a hotel project makes sense, or whether a project can be developed in the hotel or a building converted into hotels. That's one. So be critical partner in determining whether something makes sense or not for hotel usage. The second thing is, if the answer to the first question is yes, then to help to make it a good, and by good I mean financially successful hotel. So be a critical partner to check the economic viability, the architectural planning, the overall concept, the right operator, and so on and so on. So basically be a sparring partner with a specialty know-how in hotel field.
So when do you get involved in a project?
Usually too late.
Usually too late.
Ideally, it should be when somebody has an idea before significant amounts of money have been spent. Because if already half of the building is constructed and we find out that the hotel doesn't make sense, clients are not happy with us. But that happens more often than you would think. So I would say before any significant amounts of money has spent, either on architectural planning, or construction, or on legal fees or anything else, the question is, if the site is not owned, should one first buy the site and then check it, or the other way around? I say ideally it is to secure a site, but not to buy it yet before the economic viability hasn't been determined.
You have projects all around the world, and I think it gives you a pretty good overview of the market. What is the current trend, or trends, in a global market, like overall trends?
How many hours do you have?
We can do a lot of hours.
Okay, good. The world is a mess right now in terms of it's totally unpredictable, and it has a lot of local differentiation. What might be true for Germany might not be true for France. What is true for Serbia might not be true for Montenegro. What is true for China might not be true for India. So we have to differentiate market by market, sector by sector. It's good for us as consultants if the world is complicated, because our clients need help, but it makes things not easy. It's fair to say the only thing which is universal now is a certain level of uncertainty. We don't really know what the future will bring. Even in a market like China, there's a risk of overdevelopment of real estate. So I would say it is. You need a fine eye, and generalizations are never good in life, but right now they can be very, very dangerous.
But if you will have to do at least one trend for Southern and Eastern Europe, or some sort of an overview, can you give us like major trends?
I think generally we have more sophisticated market participants. The initial investors were often local oligarchs who had no clue and built a palace. And nowadays we have more and more sophisticated people, developers, investors, operators. Generally, I think there's more know-how, there's more transparency in the markets than it was maybe 10, 20 years ago. The second big trend is that all investors now look for cash flow. So cash flow is now the new king. and you look for projects which can secure a certain minimum level of cash flow. Even the Russian-Ukrainian oligarchs who built five-star palaces initially are now trying to factor in the importance of cash flow, because without steady income stream it is very risky business.
Do you have any advices for the local developers and developers coming into the Rebec market?
Less columns, less gold, less investment. Tone it down a little bit, don't overspend, keep it simple, not too complicated. There was a time for Baroque architecture, but it's gone. There was a time for palaces, but it's gone. Make economic products, but don't make them ugly, make them sexy. So make budget hotels, make mid-level hotels, but add some level of excitement, some lifestyle, some fun elements. That is a winning combination for successful hotel development, I would say. In Southeastern Europe and anywhere else in the world. Southeastern Europe, the market mechanism is basically the same as everywhere else. That's a realization. Given the small differentiations I explained before, but the fundamentals are basically the same.
Are you hopeful for the 2012 in terms of hotel development?
Hopeful in what sense? Hopeful in the sense that there will be a lot of hotel developments. I would say no, there's surely less in 2012 than there were in 2011. Simply because of a lack of financing. There is a limited amount of financing available. Banks are very reluctant and they shy away from the risk for development. So we probably see minimum 50% decline in the number of newly started developments. However, having said that, the developments get more better checked and therefore a little bit safer. So it's good for us consultants that we are needed more for a project now to get financing, find the right operator, to do the fine-tuning. But clearly we see less assignments, but the assignments get bigger. So that is, I think, the major trend for 2012. But overall, the situation in Europe is not as bad as some people think. We have markets which are remarkably resilient, like Germany, like Poland, like Austria. But we have also markets which are doing quite well in terms of development, like Montenegro, which 10 years ago nobody would have suspected. Turkey is very strong. So it's a mixed bag, and we have some countries doing better and others worse. In Southeastern Europe, my big hopes are two countries currently, Croatia and Serbia, for totally different reasons. Croatia, first of all, because it will become a member of the European Union, which is a certain advantage, but also a challenge in terms of Russian or Ukrainian gas. But finally, it seems there's more stability and dependability on the legal front, which for Croatia is very important. And second, when you look into Serbia, I would say my hope is that the times of political radicals are over and we see a certain encroachment between Europe and Serbia. And if I look into Belgrade, the hotel performance there is stunningly good. And I think it could be this hotel market could be one of the success stories in Europe. In all of Europe, not only Eastern Europe. So that's my two different perceptions. Croatia more on the resort business, Serbia, it's Belgrade. Even though there are opportunities in other places like Novi Sad, but the international investment focus is still very much centered on Belgrade.
That's the last question for Belgrade. How do you see local community being involved in destination development? Is that something that is needed for Belgrade, or you think Belgrade already has a certain maybe brand?
No, I think it's one of the examples where the reality is totally different than the perception. If I tell friends, oh, I'm going for a weekend to Belgrade, they say, oh, you poor guy. And I say, yes, it's good. It's like Beirut or Tel Aviv. Some of these cities are not really known, but they have a lively nightlife, they have fun, it is not a reflection of the economic everyday circumstances, but they are very outgoing, fun cities. Yeah, to Zagreb you go for business, but Belgrade is a lively, vibrant, big city. But the perception is totally different. Most people think it's half destroyed by war activities, and it's a boring, dull, grey city which is still reigned by Tito and Milosevic. And the reality is totally different. It's a modern, Western-style town in terms of the young people. Whether you are in Barcelona or in Belgrade, yes, the buildings are a bit different, the climate is a bit different, and the sea is further away. But nightlife, I would say it's comparable. And not only nightlife in the sense of discotheques or bars or pubs, but overall a certain quality of lifestyle and fun activities.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Very much.